evening, everyone. Our Wednesday devotions are expanding from Pastor Jeff's neighborhood, and tonight you're in Pastor Maggie's neighborhood. So welcome. I'm glad you're here with me. And I'm glad that we're neighbors now. It's good to have be here and live among you, and I'm looking forward to the day when we can meet in person. First, I want to say thank you to all the people who made a Flipgrid video to introduce yourself and your family to us, or those of you who have stopped us on the street while we're walking. Don't worry about doing that. It's not awkward. We love meeting you. Or introduce yourselves in other way. It's a strange time to begin, and we're making do with what we have, and that's all we can do. And you've done a great job at making us feel welcome. So I want to introduce my family to you, and this is my husband, Alan. He's a math and science guy, and he's a runner, and he taught chemistry and physics at Jackson County Central High School last year. And we are still waiting to see what God has in store for him in the fall. And our son Simon, Alan is going to get. He is walking around here in the yard. He's a year and a half, and he usually loves people and is a charmer, although today he's a little, I don't know, grumpy. We all have those days, right? He wants to get down and play. So we'll let them do that. We are trying to spend as much time as we can outside right now. Enjoy the summer. We go for walks every day. We go to nearby playgrounds and we enjoy our backyard, our new backyard, which is where we are tonight. So when we're not outside, and sometimes even when we are, I have been finding a lot of rocks in strange places. Case in point, I believe, there are a handful in the cup holder of this chair. I find them everywhere. They're in the dining room, on the changing table, in the car, all over the floors. And they're there because Simon is really into rocks at the moment. So when we're outside, he collects them, he'll bring them to me sometimes, or he'll carry them with him, and they end up in all sorts of places. So I've been reading a book, An Altar in Our World by Barbara Brown Taylor, and it's a book about finding God in the everyday, in all sorts of places. And so she's made me realize that these rocks that I find randomly are actually an opportunity for me to take a moment to stop and to breathe and to remember God's presence. There are a lot of stories in the scripture about people using a rock to mark a place where something significant has happened. There's the story of Jacob. There's lots of stories with Jacob, but when he stole his brother's birthright from his ailing father, fleeing his brother's anger out in the wilderness, sleeping with a rock for a pillow. And he had a dream. And in his dream, a ladder came and touched where he was, and there were angels of the Lord going up and down the ladder. And then the Lord was there with him, promising to be with him always. It was a dream that was so vivid and powerful that when Jacob woke up, he said out loud, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it." And he picked up his rock pillow and set it up toward the sky and poured oil on it to mark the spot as holy. That story's in Genesis 28, verses 10 to 22, if you want to read that. And there's another one, Joshua. All they have to do is cross the Jordan River, and they're there. And God parts the waters of the river, so the priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant can walk on dry ground. And then one person from each of the 12 tribes of Israel grabs a rock from the bottom of the dried up Jordan, and they bring it to their camp, and they set their 12 rocks in their camp, so that their children will remember when they see those rocks what God did for them on their journey. That's in Joshua 4, 1-7. And there's lots more. There's Samuel marks the spot where the Lord helped keep the Philistines away with a stone, and he calls the stone Ebenezer, which means the stone of help, to remind the people how God helped them. That's 1 Samuel 7, 3-12. So if you want to read one of those 3 stories, I commend them to you tonight. And Ebenezer, the stone of help, that is referenced in the second verse of the hymn, "Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing." Here I raise my Ebenezer, hither by thy help I come. That's pretty old language, but it's essentially saying I mark this spot as holy because I only got here with God's help. So I have started adapting the practice every time I encounter a rock in a strange, unexpected place. In the midst of the mess of our lives, and everyone who's moved knows how chaotic it is at first, right? I remember that even in the messiness and the mundane everyday life with a toddler, even though that is filled with holy moments that are worth marking and remembering. And when the days get long and tantrums abound, by the grace of God, we get through. Hither by thy help I have come. So Jacob, Joshua, Samuel, and all others in Scripture who are using rocks to remember God's presence. They use them because they're nearby. They're there in the wilderness, and that's what's all around them. So this week, I encourage you to notice what's an ordinary object that you have all around you. Something you can't go a day without running into, like the rocks in our house. Maybe it's laundry or dishes or spoons. That's another thing that Simon's leaving everywhere. Or whatever it is for you. And use that as your Ebenezer, your reminder, your marker that your life is filled with holiness. That surely God is present in this place, in your everyday life. No matter what the day brings, God will see you through. Thank you for visiting my neighborhood tonight. See you soon.